What's up, my doggies? Welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video, and we finally got a patch from BSG. 12.11.5 is now released. Today, I'm going to go over what's in this patch and what we can expect from this patch. So let's dive right in. I've got an awesome group of viewers on Twitch. You can always come and join us. I've got a Discord where I have new and veteran players helping each other out, and I'm giving away a Tarkov account, Edge of Darkness, for free to one of you guys once I hit 10k on YouTube. Details on how to enter are down below, as well as all of my links. Now that I plugged myself hard, let's jump into the patch notes. So for the first time in a little while, we now have update 12.11.5. I don't normally do these like patch updates and like event update videos and stuff, but I'm gonna probably start doing them because I feel like some of my subs might not be totally like involved in the Tarkov scene, so I want to let you guys know when new things are happening in Tarkov. So 12.11.5 has been released. It's not really a content patch, although a few things did change in game, and we're gonna go over it now. So optimization and performance. We made adjustments that allowed to reduce the amount of consumed RAM after finishing a raid. This is a good thing because I know for a fact that when I was running 16 gigs of RAM, especially while I was streaming, after playing for 3 to 4 hours, the like RAM overlog or whatever it's called, it would bog down my computer. So after I got 32 gigs, I didn't really have that problem, but still, if I'm playing like reserve for a long time, when I was playing in the tournament, we were playing like reserve for 4 or 5 hours at a time straight, and it was really bogging my computer down. So the RAM will be consumed less after finishing a raid. So they're basically adding in like a built-in RAM cleaner that will clean your RAM slightly as you finish your raid. Change the logic of in-game fonts that allowed to reduce memory consumption. So that's just a font change. Enabled reflex no longer affects performance in the hideout. I don't use NVIDIA reflex, but if you do, this is definitely something great for you guys. If you use NVIDIA reflex, I know the hideout can be buggy already, so having it be less buggy if you have reflex enabled, that's definitely a good thing. Optimize the logic of loading character voices in raid, which reduce the time to load into raids, so reduce time load in. Optimize the sound batch loading, which reduce memory consumption and time to load into raids. Optimize the location loading time by rationalizing the logic of storing game resources. Optimizing the memory consumption of the client by unloading all unused scenes from the memory. Optimize trader offer search time while using context search and filters. Added the enable hideout preload option in the game settings. If the option is enabled, it preloads the hideout. If the option is disabled, the hideout will only load when accessed. Disabling this option will reduce the main menu loading time when starting the game and after finishing raids. The option is disabled by default. So I guess they've added now a preload option in the game settings, and if you click that, it loads your hideout before you actually use your hideout, so that when you do hop in your hideout, it's super fast and super quick and super responsive. So overall, for these optimization and performances, a lot of it just seems like it was to reduce the strain on your computer when you finish raids or when you're loading into raids, and basically just makes things faster. It's an optimization that will allow less things to load into raids, and I feel like this also has to do with their transfer into Unity. I feel like a lot of these things are probably like a little preset into the Unity 19 build so that they can make everything a little bit more optimized, a little faster. Visual and graphical changes. Shadow render distance is increased to 500 meters regardless of shadow quality settings to ensure correct shading on locations. The resampling system has also been reworked to optimize performance. When you would enter buildings, you know how sometimes you have that lighting bug where like the lighting would completely change because you've entered a different area or you've left a certain area, and then you're moving through and it's like you hit a point where just the shadows all just converge. I feel like this has made it a little bit more consistent. Fix the work of the camera that led to weapon distortion on screen edges on some FOV settings. I never ran into this. I run the same FOV all the time. I'm pretty sure I run like 53 or it might be 63. This seems like it's just gonna fix some of the FOV settings. I think you had like a little bit of curve on your weapon if your FOV was too wide, so they've probably worked out some of those kinks. Gameplay and QLL changes, so quality of life. Rework the game logic of the inventory, item moving and context menus to minimize the number of errors that occurred in the stash. This is a great thing. I know you guys probably ran into it where like you move something and it says like error, back-end error, movement, blah, 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 and it doesn't really, it totally like breaks your PC. Added the ability to change weapon fire modes by rotation by double pressing the fire mode key. I hate this change. This is one change I hate because I'm one of those like OCD fire mode clickers where like I constantly am just double tapping my fire mode to make sure that I'm in full auto constantly, and I'm constantly doing it. And now if you double tap it, it only just does one click. So if I'm in semi, it'll go to full, and if I'm in full, it'll go to semi with a double click. I tested this out in the hideout. I don't like this. That's just one thing I don't like. I liked being able to just like double click it and it would just auto click it back like to the same thing I was already on. Like if I'm on full auto and I double click it, it's like single fire full, and I know I'm on full. Added a 2 menu button to the first post raid screen to skip all next screens. So this is good if you're like early wipe and you're trying to level up experience by healing yourself in your hideout rather than healing yourself at the post raid screen, because now you can just click 2 menu without actually going through all those pages. I probably won't do this because I like to check what ammo I was killed by, where they hit me, all that kind of stuff, but still good quality of life change. Added a check mark that lets you know if a weapon matches the mechanics task requirements when inspecting it in the preset menu. So when you're building your gun in the preset menu and you're building it using like the workshop weapon builder, it will let you know if it meets the task requirements for a gunsmith task. That's a great change. Added the maximum single fire rate parameter for all weapons. I see a lot of people talking about how this is a bad thing. What they're trying to do here is basically they're adding a fire rate cap for single fire weapons. So they want to basically eliminate macros. So people that use like the M1A or any single fire weapon, SKS, stuff like that, and then use macros on it to make them basically full auto. They want to try to eliminate that. But a lot of people on Twitter I've seen complain that it's kind of killing like single fire weapons. So semi-automatic weapons are apparently dead now. I haven't really given the M1A a try. I probably will tomorrow on stream. I don't know. I have to see with the M1A whether or not it's good. The M1A is basically the only semi-auto that I use. The M1A, I guess the RSAS and the SKS is what I basically use. If it's really, really slow, they're going to have to tweak it. I understand having a weapon cap to fight the macros, but you can't ruin the gun. Like the gun still needs to be decent, so we'll have to see about that one. All broken and damaged window glass is now synchronized between all players, even if loading into an already ongoing raid. This is great because I know sometimes glass is server side, and it's kind of annoying when you have to break glass or shoot through glass when on the other person's screen there is no glass, because that can give away your position and tons of other stuff. So great change. The AI of all scavs, raiders, and bosses has been moved to a new technology platform that will allow us to expand and increase the complexity of AI-driven unit behavior, and also increase the number of scavs in a single raid in the future. So this is definitely just like a precursor to what's going to be coming in the future. They want to have different factions of scavs. They want to have multiple bosses on a map, which they haven't done yet, other than like that event. But I feel like that event where there was all the bosses on reserve was like a test for this, and seemed like it had worked, so they are putting this in, they're implementing this now. So this isn't going to really change too much for us now, but in the future this is going to make big changes. Completely redesigned the quest system engine. This will decrease the number of errors in the quest system and will facilitate the creation of more diverse and engaging quest mechanics in the future. Cool. Little future, like I said, precursors to what's going to be coming. Seems like they're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Optimize the formula of calculating fence repetition penalty when killing scavs while having a high reputation. I've actually noticed that, yeah, I have a really high rep, so I have like 8 something or 9 something. There are times, you know, where a scav shoots at me and he doesn't even hit me, but like I have such a high rep that it's like if anybody fucks with me on my scav, I'll kill you. But I haven't lost rep. Like I don't lose rep for killing scavs sometimes, even though they shot at me but didn't hit me, which normally you do lose rep. It's like they haven't really been calculating it for higher scav karma players. So maybe that fixed it, but that was definitely something that I noticed. Changing the quality settings of shadows and textures, choosing graphic presets, and changing the MIP streaming option is no longer possible during a raid. So you can no longer just change your shadows and textures on the fly. It's a good thing. I mean, if you're like testing it and stuff, hopefully you can do it in offline, because I know like when I sorted out my settings when I first started playing Tarkov, I'm happy with them now, but when I first started I went to offline mode and started testing stuff and playing with it. So hopefully you can still do it in offline, but I understand they don't want people to be able to like go in to, you know, an indoor part from an outdoor part, change a bunch of settings and be able to see better, or, you know, go outside and turn all shadows down or something like that. I don't know, but I think it's a good change. Redesigned the system of game settings that allowed allowed to avoid several existing problems when changing parameters. I don't know exactly what that means, but seems like a little fix. Now, when trying to create an offer with missing items for sale, a no available items message will appear. Now, when trying to create an offer with missing items for sale, a no available items message will appear. So what that means is basically if you're trying to sell an item on the flea market and you don't click something, but you add like a price to it, I think that's what it means. It'll say no available items. I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to test this one. The raid session ID in the bottom left corner is now unique for every player. It will no longer be possible to tell on which server a streamer is currently playing. That's kind of weird because they added that whole like streamer mode where like it just makes your name streamer and it blocks the code anyways. I don't really understand the point of this because all it really does is screw people over if they're trying to like scav into the same raid or like make sure they're in the same raid as a friend or something like that. I understand that's kind of an exploit, like being able to scav into the same raid you just died in on your PMC, but like for me, I don't really see the point of it. If you have the streamer mode, you have the streamer mode, but I guess they're just trying to help streamers out. I'm a streamer, that's fine. I guess I don't have to use my raid code blocker anymore. Fixed bugs. Various object penetration fixes on locations. That's good because some of it is very inconsistent. Players would not speed up when holding the sprint key while moving prone. I never knew that. I don't know if that means like you were supposed to be able to speed up while prone, but I guess you are. So maybe you are supposed to be able to do that and you can. We'll have to test that. Scav faction was displayed as Savage instead of Scav on the lobby screen. I don't understand how that's like a bug. Like, did you not notice that? That was there forever. Game freezes when starting handling items for a craft. I noticed this a lot. Very annoying. Taz KS-23M carbine was shooting well below the aiming point. The thing always shot below the aiming point because you're aiming for the fucking legs. Players were not receiving mail with aid while in distressed condition. Not really sure exactly what that is. We'll have to see. Leaning position was not resetting after moving and pressing the lean again if the lean key was set to press. Weapon loading through the chamber was leveling the mag drill skill slower than the supposed value. Okay, that's good because mag drills load or level really, really slow. Hideout areas could remain inaccessible at the end of the build timer until the game was restarted. So that was something that was really annoying. I noticed that a lot, and I'm happy that they've fixed that. Players could freeze on the stationary weapon after using gestures or quick releasing their backpack. That is a really good thing. That's been in the game for a really long time where your gun will like freeze up. That's been in the game since like basically alpha, and they say a lot of times that they've fixed it. I've noticed it happen less, but it still does happen. Hopefully it has been fixed now, but I highly doubt it. Chambered cartridge would get pulled out of the chamber if the player used the top up on this type of cartridge in the stash. The memory skill would not grow by 5% from the current level when the player levels another skill by 1. Tagila would go through the cistern collision and get stuck inside. I've actually seen Tagila stuck inside that area, so he does get stuck in walls sometimes, and that's not a very good thing. So I'm happy they fixed that. The breathing sounds would not play when loading into a raid with Tagila's Ube or Gorilla welding mask equipped. Cultist knife poison amount would not get counted correctly. Flashlight would go through obstacles. That is a huge one. If they've actually fixed that, that's a huge fix because flashlights constantly go through like the floor and shit. If you're playing on Shoreline, your buddy's on 3rd floor and you're on 2nd, you'll see like his flashlight coming down the floor and you'll be like, is that your flashlight? And they'll have to like flash it to let you know because you could totally think it's a player. You get it confused. Flashlight light would go through obstacles. Let's hope that's fixed. Let's really hope that is fixed. If the player spammed the compass key while dropping a backpass, the compass would not appear in the hand, but the azimuth would appear on the HUD. I've never seen that, but that's obviously a really big bug. I'm glad they fixed that. Players could move without animation if they quickly press the movement keys. I think that's like when if you quickly press the movement key, you like slide around. So I'm happy that they fixed that. Truck windows were visible through the fog on the customs location. So that's basically like the glowing thing that happens with glasses. The truck windows would do that as well. Fix various issues causing error 500. I've ran into the error 500 quite a bit. So various issues causing error 500. Cool. So a lot of good fixes, a couple fixes that I'm not a big fan of, but it's like just little things that I'll have to get used to. Tarkov is always changing, and if you're a fan of this game, you're a fan of what BSG is going to be doing in the future, then you just got to deal with it and got to just respect their vision and enjoy the game as it comes. Hopefully semi-autos aren't completely dead. And I wish we got a little bit of content. I do wish we got a little bit of content. I guess this is a big bug fix thing, but I know they talked about like 12.11.5 is going to be a big bug fix, and then they're going to have another small patch with like the scar and stuff like that, and then eventually 12.12 with lighthouse. It's overall, I'm happy with the patch. I haven't really played it too much, but we're going to have to see when I go live, which I might be live right now. I'm usually live every day. You can always come join me on Twitch and hang out and talk to me about what you think about this patch. Hey, if you guys like these type of like update videos where I talk about events, patch notes, all that kind of stuff, and you want me to like update you more on like what's going on in the Tarkov sphere, I'd appreciate it. Drop me a comment down below and let me know that you do want to see more of this stuff, because I will start doing it more if you want. If you like this video, don't forget to like this video, and if you want to see more content, you know who to subscribe to. Peace, people.